Okay. So welcome everyone to Bhakti Basics part 11, and I think we can start with Jayaduani. Don't know if any of you want to do Jayaduani, otherwise I can do. We go in Facebook Live, that was great. Okay. So, and then I don't know who's going to do the bhajan. If you want to do, you can do Karuna Didi or Manini Didi, anyone. Okay. Jai Shishi Gu Granga Gandhavaka Gidai Shvadana Bhyaviju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishima, the Bhaktivedanta Narayana Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishima, the Bhakti Vigyan Bharatika Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishima, Bhaktivedanta Shilvamanga Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishimad. Shila Govinda Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishimad. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishimad. Bhakti Pragyan Keshu Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Shishimad. Bhakti Vakshak Shila Shira Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitchalila Vishnupada Stutta Sada Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ma Bhagavad Shloko Kushodas Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Sachinanda Shila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gaudivdancha Shila Baladev Bhujapur Ki Jai. Shila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shila Nadam Shinvai Shamanan Bhudrai Ki Jai. Shila Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Paravagnaf Shri Diva Gopala Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Srup Damadai Ramananda Shko Prasad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharish Lahadas Thakur Ki Jai. Praise Sakar Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shko Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadutama Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Govardhana Shivanatmaka Shivata Mandala Ki Jai. Shri Sham Kunvata Gundimuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopishvama Devi Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Asasaki Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Astamanjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baldev Vajishdarshan Ju Ki Jai. Shri Nishinga Bhagavan Prabhu Ki Jai. Bhaktivar Balad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charadam Chara Samadai Chari Chari Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samakata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Basics Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Okay, so who would like to sing? Anyone volunteer?
I think Karuna Mai should sing. She's so good opening up.
All right, Karuna Didi, you've been volunteered.
I never say no. Okay, here we go. We'll do Gurudev. Maybe Kirpak or K.
Okay, great.
Okay.
What page is that on? Anyone knows?
I'm using my app, so.
Okay, all right. Don't worry. I think it's near the back. It used to be near the back anyway. The
What song is it? Because I can look it up.
Gurudev Kripakara K.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where that is. I never know.
Hindi bhajan.
It's
okay, thank you.
So that would be okay. There you go. I have some cartels. So just grab them. 1 second. Okay, Krishna. Gurave Gurachanda, Radhikai Sadhana, Krishna and Krishna Bhakti, Tadvikta in the morning. Okay, I don't have my glasses on, so I'll do my best here. Guru te kirpa karo ke moje ko panane na. Guru te kirpa karo ke moje ko panane na. Mai sararna pata teri. Chararnar me chakate nar, me sararna patateri, me chakate nar, me charana me chakate nar. Koro te kirpa koro ke mujhe ko panane na. Koro te kirpa koro ke mujhe ko panane na. Karurna niti narma tera, karurna baratsa oto. Karurna niti narma tera, karurna baratsa oto. Sae hoye pakyana ko, hernata chakatom. Sae hoye pakyako, hernata chakatom. Meri narva parvara tole, use parala cadena. Meri narva parvara tole, use parala cadena. Hernata chakaotom, hernata chakaotom. Guru te kirpa koro ke mote korar panane na. Guru te kirpa koro ke mote korar panane na. Tom sukha se kare ho, bhakti ke sahare ho. Tom sukha ke sakara ho, bhakti ke sahare ho. Mere man में सरमाए हो, मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो. मेरे मन में सरमाए हो, मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो. निचर माला चापो तेरी, मेरे तो सपना देना. निचर माला चापो तेरी, मेरे तो सपना देना. मुझे प्राणों से प्यारे हो, प्राणों से प्यारे हो. Guru te kirpa koro ke mujhe kora panane na. Guru te kirpa koro ke mujhe kora panane na. Main santo ke sarva kaho, Guru chararna kata saho. Mae santo ka serva kaho, Guru charano kata saho. Nahi nata polar namoche, ise chaka me akela ho. Nahi nata polar namoche, ise chaka me akela ho. Tere Dwakapika hare ho, nahi dil se bulate na teri. Dwakapika hare ho, nahi dil se bulate na. Isa chakarma akela ho, nisar chakarma akela ho. Guru te kirpa koro kir mote korar parnane na. Guru te kirpa koro kir mote korar parnane na. Jaya Guru Terva, 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 Jaya Guru Terva. Thank you, Jai.
Okay, so thank you very much, Karinadidi. That was very, very nice. Hindi bhajan.
It was really nice.
Okay, so we can begin. I'll think of my pranam mantras. Omagina Mandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshimalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikai Priyapane Shri Mata Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine Ananda Lilamaya Vikrahaya Hemapyativya Chavisandraya Tasmama Prema Sapadaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shama Sundara Sikanda Shekara Smarahasa Murali Manoha Radhika Rasika Mankripa Nidhi Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Karu Tavaya Vashmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantike Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshai Shiptastakama Tarangamaje Kripa Mayitvam Sharanam Papanam Vrinde Namaste Charanavindam Vanchakaparubhyascha Kripasinabhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before we begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances. Time and time again, I offer my heart-like flowers at the dust of the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Om Vishnupad Astutar Satashishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And at the same time, I offer my humble, most respectful obeisances time and time again at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudevs Nitya Lila Bhushan Vishnupad Astutar Satashishimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada and Nitya Lila Bhushan Vishnupad Astutar Satashishimad Bhakti Bhugyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and to all Vaishnavas and all Vaishnavis and all assembled devotees here, I offer my Dandavat Pranams. Okay, so nice to see everyone again. I'm thinking that last time we were discussing Uttama Bhakti, and Gurudev would always speak the definition of Uttama Bhakti, Anyabalasita Sanyam Jnana Kamana Vritam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. And he would explain this in depth, and we tried to go through that last time. So maybe we can start with Manini Radha. Did any of you want to, if you could just do some summary of the first half of that Whatever.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So we know that this shlok of Anya Vilasi Tashinyam Gyana Kamrajanavritam Anukulena Krishna Silanam Bhakti Uttama is the jewel of all definitions from Rupa Goswami, as Charu was saying. And it was really beautiful last time because we deconstructed it. First talking about the symptoms of Uttama Bhakti, breaking down into basically two categories. One has to do with the last part of that verse, which are the intrinsic or inherent nature, or the Swarup Lakshana, and that is the Anukulena Krishna Nusilana Bhaktir Uttama. And then we have the Tatasta Lakshana, which is the beginning part of the verse, the extrinsic characteristics that are not part of the nature of bhakti. Anyabilasi Tasunyam Gyana Karmajana Avritam. So the intrinsic characteristics, Anusilanam, we reviewed how that is constant cultivation. And basically that Krishna Anusilanam is the constant cultivation of activities for Sri Krishna. And those come into two categories as well, sadhana roop, or well, the chesta roop, which are endeavors, and the bhava roop, which are spiritual sentiments. So both actions and mood, I would say, or actions and attitude. And Charu Didi reviewed, the bhavs that are basically found in Jaiva Dharma as well as in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the 13 Anubhavs, the 8 Sattvika bhavs, which I did not get to capture all of those, but they can be found in those books. And then we talked about the sadhana roop, how Chesta roop breaks down into sadhana roop and karya roop. Sadhana roop are the endeavors that are both Vaidhi and Raganuga, endeavors that lead to the manifestation of bhav. And then karya roop are the endeavors that manifest upon attaining the stage of bhav. So do I have this right, Charu? I'm trying to review it to the best of my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the sadhana roop has two parts. There's pravritri mulak, the first 10 limbs of bhakti, and then nivriti mulak, the next 10 limbs of bhakti. And the first 10 limbs are those things which are favorable, and the next 10 limbs are those things which are not favorable. So we always, in this path, we always get such a complete perspective on how to move forward and what things we can be focused on. Those things in terms of the favorable and unfavorable come from Upadeshamrita. And the first two verses of Upadeshamrita describe the Nivriti Mulak, or the those things which are based on the avoidance of negative action. And then the verses 3 through 4 describe the Pravriti Mulak, which are things like having guru, receiving Diksha, Shiksha, and taking shelter. And then Bhava Roop also has two parts. There's the Sthai Bhav, which is our eternal permanent sentiment, our true self, I would say, that exists in one of the 5 rasas or primary relationships of Santa, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya Ras. And then there's Sanchari Bhava Roop, which are 33 transitory emotions that we might experience, like humility or anxiety. And there's a number of these. And the Sthai Bhav, again, is divided into 2 parts. And there's the sprout, or the sprout of prem, which is Premankura Roop, or the Rati or Bhav. And then there's Prema Roop, which is developed through stages. That's detailed in Madhurya Kandambini. We have Sneha, Man, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, and Mahabhav, which is the domain of Srimati Radhika. So I think I'll stop there, and maybe someone else can do the rest, Charu, or is that okay?
Yeah. Very good.
All
Very
right.
good.
If I left anything out, please forgive me, but I tried to cover what I could retain. It was quite power packed last time. How do you
Yeah,
go?
a lot. A lot to go through. Yeah, you did very well. Thank you, Didi. Shamali, Didi, would you like to do the rest? Summarize the rest.
Dandavats, yes. I will do my best. As Manini said, it's really power packed. So it is so beautiful as you went through this verse, Anukulyena Krishna Silanam. So what now is, we were talking about what is Krishna Anusilanam, what is intrinsic to bhakti, and that is the cultivation of bhakti in accordance to its object. And Anukulyena, so we're refining the understanding of this verse in such a deep way of what is favorable bhakti for Krishna. That is the ultimate bhakti, Uttama bhakti. And what is it? What is it? What is it? And what is not it? Is a really simple way of looking at this. So, Anukulyena is the inherent nature of bhakti. It's the and we were using this word favorably disposed, and we were using this word instead of what is, sometimes we say what is pleasing to Krishna, because then you were going in deeper into two terms which talk about, and I may, please forgive me if I mispronounce these words, Ataviyakti, which is overextension, and aviyapti, which is underextension. So we can define Anukulyena as the engagement of that which is pleasing, but this could be interpreted as either being too wide or too narrow. And so we use the word that which is favorably disposed, because we're narrowing down those that are favorable and those that are not favorable. So the Tatashta Lakshana is the extrinsic characteristic. So that means that the Anabilisita Shunyam is, in other words, we should be devoid of all desires other than pure bhakti for Krishna. Any other desire is going to cover that bhakti and make the bhakti not blossom. So that suffix ta was discussed as being pointing devotees to that natural condition, that so that we won't make the mistake of thinking that something else would please Krishna. And so we were talking about it's devoid of desires, and we're just finding the type of gyan and karma that is favorable to bhakti and that which is not favorable to bhakti. So you had three terms of gyan, which was, again, if I mispronounce this, please forgive me. Tat pardartha gyan, which is knowledge of Sri Bhagavan, knowledge of the complete, knowledge of the supreme whole, and twa pardartha gyan, which is the knowledge of the jiva in his relationship to Sri Bhagavan, which that we are minute particles of the whole. And then what is not favorable is jiva brahm akya gyan, which is knowledge of the oneness. So any knowledge, any gyan or karma activities that cover ultimate bhakti, we want to, those are forbidden. All nitya and naimittika karma, occasional duties, as well as karma mishra, gyan mishra, these are forbidden. But there are certain types of knowledge, which are the first two of the three types, that are favorable for Krishna, understanding our relationship, our sambandha, and our understanding that we are the servant of Krishna, and that is our constitutional nature. So those are favorable, and we're talking about Vibhu Chaitanya, that Krishna is the controller, the all-pervading, and that we are the atomic particles. The Adi Anavrita is renunciation of everything that's not helpful to bhakti, and so you went into things that were not helpful to bhakti, such as Samkhya philosophy and the Eightfold Practice, and that we are looking to cultivate that that pure, uncovered bhakti, because the other activities of gyan and karma cover our bhakti, and so we want to be in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So hopefully that is helpful, and please fill in where I wasn't able to flesh it out as much as you did in the class.
No, that was really, really good. Yeah, very, very nice. Thank you so much, Shamali Didi and Manini Radha Didi. Yeah, I think it's very good summary. So yeah, there was lots of little points, you know, that in a summary you can't really go into so much detail anyway, but you captured the essence, so that's the main thing. All right, thanks ever so much, Shamali Didi and Manini Radha Didi. So we can move on to today's topic, which is Sadhana Bhakti and Mishra Bhakti, or mixed Bhakti. So, Kurna Didi. Okay. Great. Okay. So I've been wanting to discuss a bit more about Mishra Bhakti or mixed Bhakti on the previous Bhakti basics, but I didn't get around to it. So finally, on this one, we can try to speak something about mixed Bhakti, because it, just as it's really important to know of what is Uttama Bhakti, what is our very aim and object and what we want to be practicing, but many of us find that we're doing Mishra Bhakti or mixed Bhakti, so it's good to be able to identify that. So we can start with that and then move on to what is Sadhana Bhakti, but first we'll talk about mixed Bhakti. So Mishra Bhakti. Can everyone hear me okay? My voice might be a little low, but I'll try to speak a bit louder.
You sound okay, Charu.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Yeah, I've got a lot of mucus in my throat. So anyway, okay. So Aropacity Bhakti. A rope means assigned to or superimposed upon. So endeavors which by nature are not purely constituted of bhakti, but are designated as bhakti due to their being offered to the Supreme Lord. In other words, because one's activities are assigned or a rope to the Supreme Lord, bhakti is attributed or aropita to them. So the performer of Aropacity Bhakti superimposes bhakti onto his activities, meaning that he is performing an activity that is not one of the 9 limbs of bhakti or Navada Bhakti, or that is not pure enough to be classified as Suddha Bhakti. But he is thinking that his activity is bhakti. So we can speak on this, whatever I've heard from our Srila Gurudev and Vaishnavas. So Aropacity Bhakti. Endeavors which by nature are not purely constituted as bhakti, but are designated as bhakti due to being offered to the Lord, I could say. So it's said, like in Bhakti Vasamrita Sindhu Bindi, that bhakti is of 3 kinds. So there's Srupasiddha Bhakti, Aropasiddha Bhakti, Sangha Bhakti. Of course, there's many, many different types of mixed bhakti, as we discussed before about Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and so on. But, you know, this Aropacity Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti, which we'll discuss today, is very common, you could say. So those who perform Aropacity Bhakti are by their very nature not attracted to Srupasiddha Bhakti. Srupasiddha Bhakti is another term for Uttama Bhakti, which we can talk about later. So they're not inclined to perform Krishna Anushilanam, which means the cultivation of service to Krishna, nor, you know, to perform the various limbs of bhakti like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. But somehow they make an offering of their work or the results of their work to Bhagavan as a matter of duty. You know, they feel this is my duty to offer my work or the results of my work to Bhagavan. But why are they offering? It's in order to fulfill some material objective or, you know, their own purpose. So they may consider that they're performing bhakti, but in actual fact, their actions aren't constituted of bhakti or pure bhakti at all. So although their activities are offered for the satisfaction of the Lord, what is their motivation? They're feeling that by pleasing the Lord, he may fulfill their extraneous desires. So in this way, this is not actually pure bhakti. So you could say that, like we've used this word, attributed to. So this way, that person is attributed bhakti to those endeavors, or they're superimposing bhakti on their endeavors. This means that they're performing activities that are not one of the 9 limbs of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, or they're not pure enough to be classified as Sudha Bhakti. But nevertheless, that person who's performing Aropacity Bhakti thinks he's performing bhakti or even pure bhakti. You know, he's offering the fruits of his activities to the Lord. So it is considered a type of bhakti, but certainly not pure bhakti. So in Aropacity Bhakti, there are desires there for sense gratification, to attain bhakti. Bhakti means sense gratification, or even mukti, which means liberation. So the desire for bhakti and mukti remain in a hidden position. So in this way, this type of bhakti is also called deceitful bhakti, deceitful devotion. So in Aropacity Bhakti, karma is covering one's bhakti. So it could be that one thinks, oh, I like arts and crafts, so I like to make pretty clothes. So I'll worship the deity so I can see the beauty of the deity's dresses and which I'm designing. So the motivation to design the dresses is that that person will see the beautiful dresses that he or she's designed like this. So this is not pure bhakti. The devotee has some personal desires, and he superimposes the word bhakti on an activity that he wants to do for his own pleasure. So this is one example. Another example of Aropacity Bhakti is, oh, you know, I like to do business, I like to make money, so I'll start a business and use that money to serve Krishna. You know, maybe I can use the money to build a temple. This is very good service. So in this way, again, the motivation is that the person likes to do business, the person likes to earn money, but he's dovetailing like that. So, or someone could think, oh, I'll do business, make money, and I really like the feel of the earth. I really like to work with nature and earth. So I'll make a garden and I'll grow so many beautiful fruits and flowers in that garden, and I'll offer those to Krishna. So it's with the idea, yes, I'm doing this to please Krishna. But one could ask, how do I know that Krishna wants me to grow that garden, to grow fruits and flowers in a garden? No, this is my own conception. It's my own concept. Based on the principle that, I like the feel of the earth and the beauty of flowers and all these things. So this is, again, it isn't pure bhakti. So another example that Gurudev would sometimes give is someone thinks, oh, I will establish a Gurukul in which my children and others' children will be benefited. Or I'll establish a Goshala in which many cows will be benefited. Krishna likes the cows, so this will be so nice that you can have so many cows and offer their milk to Krishna, make lots of very nice milk sweets and offer them to Krishna. And of course, the person might be thinking that when after the milk sweets are offered, then I can take those milk sweets and take as many as I want. Heart's delight like this. So yeah. Also, we were talking about making a garden or establishing a Gurukul. So this isn't pure bhakti. Why? Because it doesn't constitute Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, which constitute pure bhakti, Siddha Bhakti. So there may be many hidden desires for sense gratification or name and fame, prestige, mixed in these different types of bhakti, offerings. But nevertheless, go back. You're going forward there. Okay, I hope Siddha Bhakti. Nevertheless, it may create impressions as samskars in the heart, because the fruits are being offered to Krishna. So it's encouraged, the pure devotee might encourage, yes, okay, make a Gurukul, this will be very beneficial because it's giving impressions in the hearts of children or the teachers, those who are doing this. But Gurudev said, if we make a garden, we can take the fruits and offer to the deities or to pure devotees. But if the fruit is not given to them, then the result will be very bad. So whatever we're doing, we must offer that endeavor or the results of the endeavor to Krishna or to Guru or pure Vaishnavas. Otherwise, the results will be very bad. So, this is okay, especially in the beginning. But we should know that this Aropacity Bhakti is not pure bhakti at all. So Gurudev said, in the past, many devotees, under the guidance and shelter of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, collected vast amounts of money within a short time, for their temples or gurukuls. But what became of them? They left Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada, he wanted that they become qualified devotees and engage, and he wanted that they be engaged in the service of Krishna for their eternal welfare. But due to their own material desires, then they somehow became deviated. So Gurudev said, however, a pure Vaishnava who's free from all material desires, he may establish a Gurukul, anything, and that will be pure bhakti. That will be pure devotion, because he is a pure devotee. So even it may look like, oh, you know, the results may not be so desirable, like, you know, in that Gurukul, some teachers deviated, or the school children deviated. You know, we see that, or we've seen that. But still, because that pure devotee is doing that, then whatever he does is pure devotion. And you know, the desire is there that if there's a Gurukul, there's an opportunity for the boys to be given impressions from their very childhood, for later developing in bhakti. But we see, however, that Gurudev said, you know, we see, however, that the students very rarely get these deep impressions, and instead they later become influenced by bad association, and then become ruined and lose their character, and, you know, they may dishonor their mother and father and other devotees like this. So so the results may not be so desirable, but still, the, you know, impressions are given, and, you know, that will help all round. And of course, you know, people have their own independence, devotees have their own independence. So, you know, what they do with that's up to them, and the result will be there accordingly. So Gurudev said, whatever we do, we should do as a service to Krishna, and, you know, make it for his pleasure. But this isn't sufficient in itself. So there should be no worldly desire at all in service. If one takes initiation from a bona fide guru, and he's hearing, chanting, remembering under the guidance of that pure Vaishnava, but he thinks, I want to become very wealthy, or I want to have a beautiful home and wife and very well qualified son, then his bhakti won't be pure. Rather, it will be, it can be completely destroyed, you know. So we have to be very careful to look at in our heart and see what our material desires are, see what our motivations are, and gradually try to become purified. So Gurudev said, even if there's a desire for liberation, then, you know, that certainly won't be pure bhakti. It may be mixed bhakti, Kama Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, but certainly not pure Uttama Bhakti. So Gurudev said that more than 95% of those who call themselves Suddha Bhakti, call themselves, I should say, you know, real devotees, then they don't actually follow Uttama Bhakti, pure Bhakti. They follow only Aropacity Bhakti or Sangha Siddha Bhakti, like this. So we see that most devotees are performing mixed bhakti, Mishra Bhakti. And it's good to recognize that, because I know a time when I first embarked upon devotional service, and I, amongst many others, thought, yes, but I'm doing, you know, pure devotional service, chanting whatever it was, 16 rounds, and going out on book distribution and all these things. But you know, Gurudev enlightened us, and he explained all these things. Very important. We can go on to the next slide now. Did he? Okay, Mishra Bhakti. Again, continued. Yeah, Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Endeavors that are associated with or favorable to the development of Bhakti, but are not of themselves purely composed of Bhakti. Although by its intrinsic nature, it is also not imbued with the quality of Bhakti, it is Siddha, established as such because it involves cultivating qualities which are known as Sangi, associates or assistants of Bhakti. These qualities, such as peacefulness, kindness, cleanliness, etc., are naturally seen in the personality of devotee, but are not intrinsically Bhakti in and of themselves. So to continue this topic, what is Sangha Siddha Bhakti? So Gurudev would always explain this. So it's endeavors that are associated with or favorable to the cultivation of devotion, but aren't purely composed of Bhakti. So Sangha Siddha Bhakti, endeavors which, although not purely constituted of Bhakti, acquire a likeness to Bhakti due to their being established as associates of Bhakti. That's why the word Sangha is there. So for example, examples given in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th canto, Prabhupada Muni, he was speaking to Nimi Maharaj about the 26 qualities of one who's cultivating Bhagavat Bhakti. So these qualities are, you know, he said we should cultivate compassion, friendliness, respect towards others, cleanliness, austerity, celibacy, tolerance, silence, simplicity, non-violence. One should live in a secluded place and renounce family attachments, and one should perceive the presence of the Lord everywhere, and so on. There's many qualities like that. So even though the behavior or practice of Bhagavad Dhan described in this verse is not by nature purely constituted of Bhakti, still these qualities are assistants to Bhakti. They are considered to be like associates of Bhakti. But if Bhagavat Bhakti is removed from these 26 qualities, then Bhagavan has no direct relation with the remaining 25 qualities, such as, you know, compassion, friendliness, tolerance, so on. So only when these qualities exist as associates to of Bhakti, can they be likened to Bhakti? How you say? Or can Bhakti be affected like that? So in this way, you know, this is known as Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So the qualities that are indirectly related to, or you could say directly related to Bhakti. But the main point is that, you know, what is the intrinsic quality of the 26 qualities of Bhakti? That is surrender to Krishna. So if that's there, okay. But if that's not there, then those qualities in and of themselves are not useful at all. So another way we can understand Sangha Siddha Bhakti, Gurudev used to give the example of, there may be a festival, and in that festival, many people and devotees are invited. So there's many kinds of people, devotees come there, and some pure devotee also comes, and they're there in that congregation, maybe in a hall, and it may be that many have no bhakti at all, but they have come to begin their path of bhakti in a way, maybe consciously or unconsciously. But outsiders, they will see that, oh, there's a big congregation in a hall, and they'll tell others, oh, a group of devotees went there, they'll describe the festival. But they can't, those people who are describing that, they can't differentiate between devotees and non-devotees. They just say, oh, everyone, devotees there. But because there were people there, many people, many devotees, and in that congregation there was at least one pure devotee, then those non-devotees and the devotees, they would be considered to be performing Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So this is one example. Another example is given of a Yagya, fire sacrifice. All the ingredients are that are associated with the Yagya, the fire sacrifice, that is in relation to Vishnu, and that Yagya is actually representing Vishnu, you can say like that. But the main ingredient there is surrender. So at a fire Yagya, everyone is chanting, Vishnu Svaha, which means I'm surrendering to Vishnu, or Krishnaya Svaha, I'm surrendering to Krishna. So this is the main thing. But still, as part of that Yagya, as part of that sacrifice, there must be someone or a certain group of people who are collecting the ingredients for the Yagya. So in this way, it's the ingredients aren't the main thing, but they are related to the main thing, which is the offering of oneself in the form of Vishnu, in the form of fire, like that. So this is called Sangha Siddha Bhakti because it's related. So Gurudev said that Harishchandra, he was a great king or great emperor, and he performed Sangha Siddha Bhakti. So how did he perform Sangha Siddha Bhakti? He was very great, very powerful emperor, and his wife's name was Sabya. So they had a very beautiful son whose name was Rohitasvara. So Rohitasvara, he was very much loved by his parents, and Harishchandra, he was well known as an extremely truthful person. He never ever spoke a lie, and he never tolerated any untruth. So he was renowned throughout the world for this and for his generosity and to people, animals, like that. However, one time a great sage, Vishwamitra, he was concerned for Harishchandra's welfare. So he thought that although Harishchandra is following the path of truth, he's following this dharma very well, but still worldly truth has no real value. In reality, there's only one truth. And what is that? That is that we all eternal spirit souls and servants of the Supreme Absolute Truth, servants of Krishna. And actually, Vishwamitra, he understood that Harishchandra, he's not realizing this truth. So he wanted to help him realize. So one night, Vishwamitra, he appeared to the king by his mystic power, and he seemed to enter his dream. So Vishwamitra approached him. He said, "Oh, you're an excellent dharmic king who's very generous and most truthful. And I've come as I want something from you." So Harishchandra, he awoke and he said, "Certainly, I'll give you anything you ask from me." So Vishwamitra said, "Oh, yes, okay, I want you to donate me your entire kingdom." So Harishchandra, he said, "Oh, of course, I'll give that to you." So Vishwamitra left at once, and the king fell back asleep. And by following morning, he forgot what happened. But later that morning, Vishwamitra again approached him and he said, "Oh, do you remember any dream you had last night?" And Harishchandra said, yes, I remember." Vishwamitra said, "Well, you gave me your entire kingdom." And Harishchandra said, "Yes, I may have given you it, but it was just a dream." So then Vishwamitra said, no, it wasn't just a dream. I actually came to you last night." And then Harishchandra, he said, he thought, okay, well, yes, this may be true, because he knew that great rishis, they have mystic powers and are capable of just about anything. So Vishwamitra said, "Okay, so now I want you to make a vow to give me your kingdom as previously pledged." So Harishchandra said, "Okay, yes, I declare the kingdom is yours." So Vishwamitra's happy. He said, "Okay, but you should also give me some dakshin, because, according to Vedic culture, if anyone gives in charity, then the rule is that he must give some dakshin in the form of like coins, along with that charity. Otherwise the vow won't be complete." So Harishchandra said, "Okay, well, how much would you like?" And Vishwamitra said, "Okay, you can give me 10,000 gold coins." So Harishchandra immediately ordered his treasurer, "Okay, give him 10,000 gold coins." But then Vishwamitra smiled and he said, "Well, actually, you're a liar, because it seems that you're going back on your word. You just gave me your entire kingdom, including your treasury. Therefore, how can you possibly order your treasurer to give me anything? He's not your treasurer anymore, and the treasury is not yours anymore. So you will therefore have to give me a donation by any other means." Then Harishchandra agreed and said that he'd take a loan from someone in the kingdom. Then Vishwamitra said, "Oh, the citizens now belong to me, and I won't allow you to do that." The king thought, "Well, all I have left is my wife, my son, myself. Everything else is gone." So then he told Vishwamitra, "Okay, I will sell myself, my wife, and my son, and then I'll pay you." So Vishwamitra said, "Well, you can't sell yourself within my kingdom, and you can only do that outside." So then, as Harishchandra was previously ruler of the entire earth, he was the emperor of the entire earth, that was his kingdom, then he didn't know what to do. And then Vishwamitra said, "Okay, although Kasi is within my kingdom, it's the abode of Lord Shiva, and in that sense, it's not considered part of this world. So in that way, it's outside of my kingdom. So you can go there and sell yourself and your family, but don't forget to pay me. So Harishchandra and his wife, his son, they went to Kasi, and they couldn't even go there by chariot. They had to walk because everything now belonged to Vishwamitra. So after traveling many days, they finally arrived in Kasi, and then Harishchandra ended up selling himself for 5,000 gold coins to a guard of a crematorium. And then he was engaged as a guard of that crematorium. So then he still had to make up the other 5,000 gold coins. So then he sold his wife and child to a very cruel Brahmin. So after some time, by the mystic power of Vishwamitra, a snake bit Harishchandra's son and killed him. And then the Brahmin owner of Sabya, his wife, he told her, "Oh, take that dead body away from here." And he refused to help her in any way, like go to take her dead son to the crematorium, and he left her to make all the arrangements herself. So that night there was a big storm, and later on, it was very dark, and she was heartbroken. She was weeping, and she took her son's body in her arms and carried him to the same crematorium grounds where her husband was now God. So when it was dark, when Harishchandra Sabi didn't even realize who she was. He didn't recognize her, and she was very poor and destitute, and still he told her, "Oh, you can't cremate this child here without paying a fee." But she had no money with which to pay. So just then a lightning bolt flashed, and Harishchandra saw that it was his own wife standing before him. So he was completely shocked, and his heart broke, and he began to cry. And he said, "Oh, my Lord, what has happened? What has become of me and my family? This is awful." So, but still, because he was highly dharmic, then he still tried to be true to his new identity as a god of the cremation grounds. So still weeping, he dutifully told his wife Sabya, "I am now God here, and so you should pay me the fee." The Sabya said, "I've nothing to give except half of my veil." So Sabya, she started tearing her veil, and at that point, Vishwamitra, along with Lord Narayan and demigods like Lord Brahma and Yamaraj, they immediately appeared on the scene, and they called out, "Oh, Rohitasva will be king," like this. Vishwamitra then placed his hands on the body of Harishchandra's dead son, and he told him to rise, and in a moment he came back to life. So Vishwamitra then told Harishchandra, "I took everything away from you, and now I'm returning it. So the kingdom is again yours. But you should understand that in this world, no one can speak the truth in the real sense. You are not Harishchandra, as this name is the name of your physical body, and you are not this body made of blood, flesh, urine, stool, so on. Nor are you the husband or of Sabya, or father, Rohitasva, or king. So the truth is that you are not of this world, and you are eternally the servant of the Supreme Lord. So you should serve the Lord and his holy name." So Harishchandra, he was devoted to false truths of this world, was not truly devoted to the Lord nor surrendered to him. Therefore, even in his palace, although he had everything that anyone could ever wish for, he could not experience real happiness. Harishchandra, he realized everything Vishwamitra told him, and he decided to give up everything, and he wanted to really attain the goal of life. So why? Because by the mercy of Vishwamitra, what would have taken him many lives to achieve, he attained only in a few moments. So pure Vaishnavas, they're not attracted to Siddha Bhakti and have no taste for Aropacity Bhakti nor Sangha Bhakti at all. All these types of devotion are not actually Bhakti by their constitution. And some people refer to these types of activities as Bhakti, but in fact, they're not Bhakti at all, but Bhakti Abhas, which means like a shadow of Bhakti, semblance of real devotion. So Aropacity Bhakti and Sangha Bhakti, they can't give pure Bhakti in Gurudev said thousands and millions of births. So if, like, for example, Harishchandra had continued to go on with his worldly dharma, then he would have never attained pure Bhakti going on in that way, even though he's so truthful, practicing truthfulness to the highest degree. But still, he would never attain pure Bhakti like that. So only by the mercy of pure devotee who can really open our eyes and our heart to the understanding of what is pure Bhakti, can we attain that pure Bhakti. Otherwise, you know, this Aropacity Bhakti and Sangha Bhakti, which is mixed with calm and gyan, then we'll never attain pure Bhakti if we go on performing mixed Bhakti like that. So we should avoid this and try to properly understand Siddha Bhakti and engage in that. And then if by some great good fortune through the practice of Bhakti Abhas, then one develops his faith in the true nature of Bhakti, then can such practices transform into unalloyed devotion. But this doesn't happen so easily, because by the practice of Bhakti Abhas, then there exists every possibility that one remains devoid of unalloyed devotion. So therefore, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, they all recommend just try to follow Siddha Bhakti and give up this mixed Bhakti. So that we can go on to the next slide. Siddha Bhakti. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the questions. I forgot about the questions. So, yeah. You can ask. Kunadidi?
Okay, so should I go back over the last two slides?
Yeah, just very briefly, yeah.
Okay, so Aropacity Bhakti and Sangha Bhakti. So if you'd like to answer, please do. And I will ask the first question. So let's pause this for a moment. And here you go. Okay. Just excuse my hair. Okay, what's the meaning of the word Aropa? And what's the meaning of the word Aropacity Bhakti? So the first question is, what is Aropa? And what is Aropacity Bhakti?
I'll try.
Manini, did you? Oh, Shamali's hands up. Shamali,
Okay.
or whoever would like to answer.
I'll just say Aropa means assigned or superimposed upon, or put upon. I don't know if Shamali wants to go ahead and give the definition of Aropacity Bhakti.
There it is.
So Aropacity Bhakti is kind of mixed bhakti. It means attributed or um, things that are helpful to. No. I'm sorry. No, Aropacity Bhakti is they're assigned to and superimposed upon, so they're not intrinsically bhakti, but something that we would do. Like you gave an example of giving in a school. I'll create this school for my children to go through, but the desire is a school for your children. So it's something called deceitful bhakti. And did you want to talk about the other one, the Sangha Sada Bhakti, or?
Yeah, there's a question about that coming now, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the next is, what is the meaning of Sangha Siddha Bhakti? So the question is, what's the meaning of Sangha Siddha Bhakti? And yes, the Sangha Siddha Bhakti.
Answer that, but somebody else.
Sure. Oh, go ahead, Shamali, if you like.
These are endeavors that are associated with bhakti that are favorable to. So, and they exhibit themselves in things like peacefulness, kindness, cleanliness, that sort of thing, compassion. They're not intrinsic, but they follow the bhakti. They're likened to it.
Okay, thank you.
Haribol, is it kind of fair to think of these two as like Aropacity Bhakti? Just this is my layperson's understanding, is like I think I'm doing bhakti. I mean, I think I'm doing something that's about bhakti, but it really is just my own personal motives, hidden agenda. Whereas Sangha Siddha Bhakti are actually things that are kind of favorable and associated with devotion, but by themselves are like, without having Bhagavan in the center, they're actually kind of not, they could also become self-serving, but like, I could just want to be clean because I want to be clean and smell good, but cleanliness is like a godly quality. Is this like a way to understand the?
Yeah, like I was saying, the Struplakshan of the 26 qualities of bhakti is surrender to Krishna. So if that's not there, then all the other qualities are, not in and of themselves are not very useful. Like someone who's not a devotee could have many of those qualities, if not all of them. But
so they don't advance us per se in and of themselves.
Yeah, so they have to be related somehow. Like the example I gave, or Gurudev would give about the festival. So if it's a festival, there's no pure devotee there, then those participants, they wouldn't really even be considered to be doing Sangha Siddha Bhakti, but because there's connection with a pure devotee there, then okay, then even though they don't even really know what's going on at the festival, but still because of the presence of that pure devotee, then there's some kind of relation with bhakti, so it's Sangha Siddha Bhakti like that.
Got it.
So it's kind of whatever's indirectly or in a sense directly related. Okay, so we can move on.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, go ahead.
I heard you briefly say that the pure devotees don't consider Rope Siddha Bhakti, Sangha Siddha Bhakti, and then I heard you say Sarup Siddha Bhakti also, that they don't consider these as.
No, I didn't say that. Only Aropa Siddha Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti. Srup Siddha Bhakti is what we will hopefully be doing, or want to do at least, aspire to do, which is what I was going to speak about next. Okay. So that's synonymous. Srup Siddha Bhakti is synonymous with Uttama Bhakti. Yeah. So I hope that's clarified.
And there's one comment here as well from Vrindavan Chandra. The key to pure devotion is Vishrambena Guru Seva, intimately, says Shri Guru.
Nice. Yes. True. Okay, so should we go on to the next slide, 5? Siddha Bhakti. You there? Purnamai, did he?
Is it,
Yeah, number 5.
this is
Soup
not
Siddha
number 5?
It's
Yeah.
not showing,
No,
Dee.
it's not
It just says
showing.
you
It's
started
not showing.
screen.
Showing, okay, I think I have, why is it not showing? It says I'm screen sharing.
No, you're not.
Maybe stop it and start it again. 'Cause
Okay,
Mercury's
because I have it on
retroing.
present. Okay, sorry, one moment, please. Okay. So I stopped, I think it's because I had it on, I see. Okay. I see. So I have to do this each time. I have to go from the small to the large. There you go.
It's still not up. The slide is not up.
Still not there.
It's still not there.
No.
Oh,
Did you choose the window that has the slide? Maybe that's. If you
yes,
have
I just did it again. I stopped it and I'm doing it. So here I've stopped it and I'm going to share screen. I'm selecting the screen and I'm clicking share. It says that I'm sharing the screen.
No, it's not. It just says Kunamai Dasi has started screen sharing, but there's nothing showing.
But there's nothing showing. Okay.
Option.
Might be your internet connection because it's spinning on my phone. Is it low?
It's what it usually is, which is not great, but it's usually sufficient. Okay, I'll just try one more time here. Okay, so I am on, yeah, it's never done this before. So, okay, so I'm going to try taking the view to run speaker. I'm going to try one more time. So the other option here, I'll try something slightly different here. I'll give start share. Yes. Okay.
No, it's not working. Just says Kunamai Dasi has started screen sharing.
But it's not
Oh.
sharing.
I wonder if you can send the slides to someone else. I don't, Manini Radha or something. If
There's
she-
it showing.
Manini Radha, do you know how to share? Because I haven't
Yes.
got.
Yeah, I
could-
do.
It would be a little difficult to send them. I mean,
Yeah.
I can, but then I'd have to email them. They'd have to open
Yeah.
up on their Canva
the
account.
whole thing, right?
Yeah, I'd have to or I could download them as a PDF. Is it not showing anything right now?
It says
Either
Kunamai.
that, Dee, or you may have to sign out and get back
But
in.
yeah,
Or something.
sign out and sign back in and see what happens.
Okay,
Are you
I'm
the host. You're not the host.
currently the
Right?
host, so I have to make someone
Make
else.
Charu the host. Mercury's retrograde, so there's always technical and communication.
Oh dear.
Okay, so the only problem is I need to be host in order to
Yeah,
share.
you can be host.
Well,
So-
Karuna, if you want to try to send me the PDF, I my internet's fast and I can.
I don't think it's my internet. I think
Or
it's,
Shamali.
No,
I
but
think
I was
it's
thinking
split.
if you said that you could make a PDF, you could download it to your desktop and then show that on Stream Square.
it's not showing my desktop either, though. That's the problem. I've tried desktop, I've tried browser. It's just not sharing my screen for whatever reason. And I don't think it's internet, because this is
Yeah.
regular internet. I've checked my upload and download
I
speed.
think if you maybe just send it to someone else.
Yeah, I'm downloading it as a PDF right now.
Karuna Mai, did you inadvertently change something in your settings? There's settings in Zoom under share screen.
Yeah, I didn't share anything. I didn't change anything either. It's just me going back and forth between sharing, stopping share, and starting share. It's honestly most likely just a Zoom glitch. I haven't changed anything.
Okay.
Okay, so I've downloaded it. I'm just going to upload the PDF to the chat. So that's uploading. Those are the slides. And I can actually change the settings so that other people can share. I'll have to. So it's still uploading.
I see it in the chat.
Yeah, it says share the file in the meeting.
Yeah, so that's whoever wants to open that up. It's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do have to change the settings so that people other than myself can share screen.
I can try screen sharing it if you allow.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please do that.
Let me see. Okay. Can you?
Yeah,
see it?
something's come up, but yeah, I don't know if you,
your desktop showing.
yeah.
Is it showing the Sarup Siddha Bhakti slide though?
Yes,
Showing the Siddha Bhakti, but it's got all the other kind of surrounding.
Hold on,
but
let me move. Let me stop sharing and see if I can clear my screen.
Yeah.
And I have to move some things. Sorry. Because I do have a lot on here, and I'll close this. My screen is also Radha and Krishna, so you might, it's like unavoidable to see. Hold on.
Okay.
And let me see if I can change this to make it full screen. View full screen mode. Okay, hold on now. I'm going to try sharing. How's that?
Yeah. Perfect. Great. Okay, at last. Okay. So, Srup Siddha Bhakti. Srup Siddha Bhakti endeavors purely constituted of Uttama Bhakti. All favorable endeavors, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smarana, and so on, as well as the manifestation of the spiritual sentiments that occur beginning from the stage of Bhav, which are completely devoid of all desires separate from Shri Krishna, and which are freed from the coverings of Gyan and Calm, are known as Srup Siddha Bhakti. So that's all endeavors of the body, mind, and words that are related to Shri Krishna and that are performed exclusively and directly for his pleasure without any intervention are known as Srup Siddha Bhakti. So we were speaking before about Aropacity Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti and other types of Bhakti being mixed Bhakti. But what we want to perform is this Srup Siddha Bhakti, which is synonymous, like I said, with Uttama Bhakti. So all favorable endeavors, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, remembering, or, these spiritual sentiments, bhavs, they, that are completely devoid of all desires, separate from Krishna, and that are favorable towards Krishna, not covered by Jnana and Karma. This is Swarup Siddha Bhakti. So in Ramananda Roy Samvat in Chaitanya Charitamrita, both Aropa Siddha Bhakti and Sangha Siddha Bhakti have been described as external. So when Ramananda Roy gave examples to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was asking what is the ultimate goal of life, in the beginning, he was describing Varnashram Dham and all different types of mixed bhakti. Then Mahaprabhu was saying, no, this is external. Aropa Siddha Bhakti, Sangha Siddha Bhakti, it's external. So we want to ultimately perform this Swarup Siddha Bhakti. So we can go on to the next slide.
Oh, next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Yeah. Okay. So the 3 stages of bhakti: Sabhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, Prema Bhakti, Iti Trivida, Sadhana Bhakti, Punavairi, Raganuga, Vedena, Drivida. So this is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Uttama Bhakti is of 3 types: Sadhana Bhakti, that's the first stage; Bhava Bhakti, intermediate stage; and Prema Bhakti is final stage. And Sadhana Bhakti is further divided into 2: Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti. So on this session, we'll just discuss something about Sadhana Bhakti, and then later we can discuss more about Bhava Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, like that. So we can go on to the next slide. Oh, questions. Okay.
So should I review? Hold on. Am I muted? I'm not muted, right?
No, that's good. All good.
Okay.
So Karuna Maididi, you have the questions, right?
I do.
First, I'm just going to review the slides for you.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah.
Then
Swarup
the
Siddha
3
Bhakti. 3 stages of bhakti. Okay.
And then here's the thing about sharing the slides. You have to stop screen share in order to go to gallery view. Otherwise,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
yeah. So I don't know why, but on my computer, when I stopped the second time, it wouldn't let me share again. But
Okay, it's worked out anyway. Thank you for saving the day there.
yeah. Okay, so the question then is, what's the meaning of Sangha Siddha Bhakti?
No, Swarup Siddha Bhakti, isn't it?
Sangha Siddha.
Right, we just did that one. Sorry, what is the meaning of Sangha Siddha Bhakti?
Well, Swarup Siddha Bhakti are those endeavors that are actually purely constituted of Uttama Bhakti. So favorable things such as the limbs of Bhakti herself, Shravana Kirtana, Vishnu Smaranam. I don't know if I can remember them all. Atmana Vedanam. But anyway, I think you guys know those. And all the endeavors of the body, mind, and words that are related to Krishna. It makes me think of the Bible verse, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And to me, that is Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Hari Bol.
Okay, nice.
And then, thank you. The next question is, what are the 3 stages of Bhakti?
Hello,
Oh, who is that?
it's Jiva.
Eva, please go ahead.
Hello, is it Sadhana Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay. And that's all we have for that. Oh, we have
one more question.
we have, what are the 2 further divisions of Sadhana Bhakti?
Continue. It's Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we can move on to page 8, is it? Definition of Sadhana Bhakti.
Okay. Can you see my screen again?
Yeah, questions, and then the next slide. Yay, go back. Yeah, thank you. So the definition of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means the method one adopts in order to obtain one's specific goal, or sadhya. And sadhana bhajan means spiritual cultivation or practice performed for the purpose of awakening bhav, which eternally exists in the heart of the jiva. So the definition of sadhana bhakti comes in this verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. Kriti sadhya bhave sadhya bhavasa sadhana vida nitya siddhasya bhavasya pakitam vitti sadhyata. So sadhana bhakti is the engagement of the mind and senses in the limbs of bhakti for the purpose of attaining bhav bhakti. This bhav is a potentiality which eternally exists in the heart of the jiva and is manifested in the heart purified by sadhana by the mercy of a nitya siddha or living sadguru. So, we can talk about this as very important subject matter that Gurudev would often speak. He would often quote this verse again and again. Very important verse if anyone wants to try to memorize it. So sadhana bhakti is the engagement of the mind and senses in the limbs of bhakti for the purpose of attaining bhav bhakti, or that devotion which is accomplished through the function of the senses by which bhav bhakti is obtained. So Gurudev would often say, without this aim and object, which means, what is our aim and object? We should know it's bhav bhakti. So our practice isn't real sadhana if we don't have this aim and object to attain bhav bhakti. So when one performs devotional practices in such a way that Uttama bhakti will manifest in one's heart, it's called sadhana bhakti. So when one's aim and object is, I will achieve bhav bhakti, then one's practices can be said to be sadhana bhakti, otherwise not. So if you don't have the same an object, you're just going about your, sadhana without really knowing the aim and object or being focused on that, aspiring for that, then it's not really said to be sadhana. So this verse comes nitya siddhasya, in this verse, the second line is nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakritram vidhi sadhyata. So by sadhana, one can't make anything new, Gurudev said. Rather, one can only realize what's already there in the heart. Whatever mood is already there, that can manifest. So the desired attainment is the manifesting of nitya siddha bhav within the heart of the purified jiva. In other words, bhakti or bhav eternally exists in the heart of the jiva, but the question may come, what will bring about its manifestation or its manifesting? So when one practices sadhana bhakti under the guidance of a sadguru, then the heart becomes purified, and in that purified heart, then bhav can manifest. And bhav is an eternally accomplished phenomena. It's called nitya siddha, which has always existed in the eternal associates of Bhagavan. And it's only by their mercy can it enter into or manifest in the heart of a purified jiva. So it's described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu that the jiva has the seed adaptability or the inherent potentiality to receive that bhav, just as a female parrot has the seed adaptability, the potentiality to learn to speak. So unless one aspires for the bhav of the Brijbasi, the one particular Brijbasi, then his practice doesn't constitute sadhana. in the strict sense of our Rupanuga line. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it said that in the jiva, who is an infinitesimal particle of spirit, or chitkan, that exists a nandakan, or an inherent particle of bliss. And you could say that particle of bliss is, of Shri Krishna, who's compared to be like the unlimited spiritual sun. So when the jiva is bound by Maya, that Ananda Khan, that particle of spiritual bliss, remains practically lost. So the one and only duty of the jiva is to cause that eternal nature to manifest in one's heart. And only in that condition is the attainment of the Nitya Siddha Vastu, or the eternally accomplished reality, affected. So in actuality, it's only by the mercy of Krishna or his devotees, pure devotees, does bhav in the form of Shravanam, Kirtanam, pure hearing and chanting manifests itself in the senses of the purified jiva. Prior to this, before this, when the faithful jiva, through his own efforts, performs kirtan of Bhagavan's names with his tongue, or hears Bhagavad Gita with his ears, such an endeavor is called Indriya Vyapara, which means the engagement of the senses, or Indriya Prarana, which means that which is induced by the senses. But this also is accepted as Sadhana Bhakti. But we should know what it really means to perform true Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarana. So, for example, in the performance of a Yagya, fire sacrifice, it's necessary to first collect the ghee, the firewood, the kusha grass, flowers, an asana, a sitting place, and other paraphernalia. So these preliminary activities are understood to be included within the Yagya, included within the sacrifice. In the same way, in order to perform Sadhana Bhakti, one must perform Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing about Lord, chanting about Lord, and remembering him. So these are preliminary acts of forcibly engaging the senses. This is called Indriya Vyapara. So this is also to be accepted as part of bhakti. But in reality, Shravana, Kirtana, this hearing and chanting are not functions of the material senses. And they can't be performed by the material senses. So it's only by the mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees that bhakti can manifest itself upon the senses of a sadhak and become spiritualized. And then that in turn will cause them to become like tadatmik, which means attain oneness with the nature of bhakti. So the various limbs of sadhana, or you could say, the various limbs of sadhana of Uttama Bhakti may be performed through the medium of the purified senses. So then this is called Sadhana Bhakti. In other words, when one performs Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all the limbs of Bhakti through the medium of the purified senses, then this is really Sadhana Bhakti, because the senses have been purified and the aspiration is one-pointed. So the qualifying term Sadyabhav has been used in this verse. So we can try to understand this. That by which bhav is to be accomplished, or sadhya, is called sadyabhav. So sadhana Bhakti, it brings about the manifestation of Bhav Bhakti. Therefore, it said in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu Bindu that the practices of Bhakti by which Dharma, Artha, Karma, or in other words, mundane religiosity, Artha means economic development, Karma, sense gratification, moksha, liberation, and other purusharthas, other goals of human life. Any of those, if the aim is to attain Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha, in other words, then this can't be classified as Sadhana Bhakti. Those endeavors can't be classified as Sadhana Bhakti, which gives rise to Bhav Bhakti. So it's only when those endeavors are carried out in connection with Uttama Bhakti, where there's no trace of any other desires other than to give pleasure to Shri Krishna or give benefit to Shri Krishna, then this can be called real Srupa Siddha Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti, like this, because the aim is for Uttama Bhakti. Otherwise, if it's for anything else, if it's for Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha, it cannot be called Sadhana Bhakti. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this, Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. So the word bhav has been used in the sense of upalakshana. Upalakshana means the act of implying something that hasn't been directly expressed. So to try to understand this word upa means it's a prefix. It means towards, near to, together with, so on. And lakshana is a particular characteristic. So when describing a lakshana or a secondary characteristic, when describing a lakshana, a particular characteristic, a secondary characteristic is simultaneously and indirectly implied. It's called upalakshana. Understand? So when describing a lakshana, a particular characteristic, a secondary characteristic is simultaneously and indirectly implied. This is called upalakshana. So therefore, when we use the word bhav, this automatically implies the limbs of bhakti, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, are to be, understood as being anubhavs or resultant actions of bhav bhakti. So the examples given in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu Bindu that although Shri Krishna appeared in the home of Vasudeva, one shouldn't think that he took birth there, because he appeared there, but he didn't take birth there. He took birth in Braj. So in the same way, one shouldn't think that a sadhak can performing sadhana can give birth to bhav. So it's, in other words, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to say is, we can perform sadhana, yes, we can perform Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, but that in and of itself doesn't give birth to bhav. Rather, bhav automatically manifests itself upon the ears, tongue, and other senses that have been purified by sadhana. So it's not the sadhana in and of itself that causes bhav to manifest, but when the senses are purified, then bhav may manifest. Such a time, the performance of sadhana, such as hearing, chanting, remembering, so on, being constituted of bhav, then becomes one with its nature. So, so they are then nitya siddha, or eternally perfected, being anubhavs of the resultant activities, actions of bhav bhakti. Therefore, the limbs of Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on, they manifest themselves automatically on the tongue, ears, and other senses of the person who are engaged in Nitya Siddha or the eternally perfected limbs of bhakti. This is due to the fact that bhav is a specialized function of the Srup Shakti or internal potency of Bhagavan. So I know that was a lot to take in. It's not so easy to digest, but anyway, you know, maybe hearing all this, maybe some technicalities there, but some impression may be made, some understanding may come. But really it's by one's practices that the realization will come. So we can go on to page 9, and then that could be the last page, I think. Okay, page 9 is the questions. No, go back before that. Bhav is, yeah, that's it. Bhav is Nitya Siddha, an eternally accomplished phenomenon. So this verse would often be quoted by Gurudev in relation to this Kriti Sadhya Bhave Sadhya Bhavasasa Nabada. So in relation to that, Nitya Siddha Shabhavasha Pakatam Ridi Sadhya, this line, this verse exactly correlates Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Sudachiti Karye Udoy. So Krishna Prem is a potentiality which eternally exists in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting under the guidance of a sad guru, this love naturally awakens. Bhav has always existed in the Nitya Parikas, eternal associates of Bhagavan. This Nitya Siddha Bhav manifests itself on the Lord's eternal associates through the heart of a sadguru into the heart of the purified jiva. So we'll just discuss a little bit about this because it's an important point. And this is the last part of this verse. So the word Nitya Siddha has been used in this verse in order to establish the fact that Bhav is Nitya Siddha, or an eternally accomplished phenomena. So, so this is verified here, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kaba 9. So Bhav has always existed in the Nitya Parikas of Bhagavan, and how does it manifest in the heart of the Jeev? So it's by the mercy of pure devotee. So you could say that this Bhav cannot be generated, created, or transferred from somewhere else, as it already exists in the heart of every jiva. It's already there. So the example can be given just as although the sun is millions of miles away from this planet, its rays can reflect in this dark planet and light up everything. In the same way, if you put a crystal in the sunlight, the crystal will reflect all kinds of beautiful colors. However, you would never see those colors in the dark. They can only be seen by the reflection of the sunlight. But nevertheless, those colors are always there within the crystal, like as a potentiality. So in the same way, Prem is shining brightly in the hearts of Radha and Krishna and their associates in Gloka Vrindavan. However, it doesn't exist here, but it can be reflected here in the heart of a Sudha Vaishnav in this world. And in turn, when that light is reflected in the dark crystal-like heart of a sadhak here, it awakens his Nitya Siddha Bhav. Understand? So in this example, the sunlight is Sudha Sattva Visheshatma, which is in the verse describing the definition of Bhav Bhakti, which we can go on to next session. But so the sunlight is Sudasattva Visheshasma, or Srup Shakti, and it stimulates those colors in the crystal or bhavs that are already there in the heart to manifest, but which otherwise would never awaken without the touch of that Srup Shakti. And that Srup Shakti comes from the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna and Goloka Vrindavan. It's there reflected in the heart of a pure devotee in this world, and it can be reflected in the dark heart of a jiva here, whose practice of sadhana has purified his heart, and therefore he's open to the rays of Srup Shakti coming from Goloka Vrindavan through the heart of the pure devotee and into his heart, and that will then manifest Bhav. So just to summarize, this is the last thing I want to say. At the time of initiation, Diksha, the Guru instructs the sadhak on his relationship with Bhagavan, and then receiving those instructions with firm determination, the devotee performs sadhana fixed in this relationship, and gradually he can then achieve Bhav Bhakti. So when this Bhav Bhakti reaches into a completely ripened condition, it's then known as Prema Bhakti. So it's the Guru that bestows the realization of the sadhak's position, his eternal spiritual form, that will hopefully be of a Manjari maidservant of Srimati Radhika, and which is, the very aim and object of our practices. So the term Sadhya Bhav, this includes all the progressive stages of bhakti. In other words, Shraddha, faith, Sadhu Sangha, association with pure devotees, bhajana kriya, performance of devotional service, the limbs of bhakti, anartana vritti, the eradication of all unwanted habits, and then nishta, firm faith, ruchi, nishta, firm faith, ruchi, taste, and a shakti, attachment, and finally Bhav. So this we can discuss in the next session of Bhakti Basics. We can talk about Bhav Bhakti, and we can talk also about the stages of Bhakti, starting with Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Nartana Vritti, and so on like that. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but at least we somehow got through it. And then we can take questions. Just go back briefly if you can, Nini Radha Didi. So definition of sadhana bhakti, I think we started there, right? So what is sadhana, and what is sadhana bhajan, and what is the definition of sadhana bhakti? Very important verse if anyone wants to learn it. It's very good to know. Okay, and then we can go on to the next slide. Bhav is, sorry, I'm spacing out there. Yeah, sorry. Bhav is Nityasiddha, an eternally accomplished phenomenon. Nityasiddha Krishna Priyan Sadhika Brahmanai Shravanadi Sudhachiti Karya Doi. So this is an explanation of the second line of the verse, Kriti Sadhya Bhave Sadhya. Bhavasasana Nityasiddha Shibhavajak Prakitvan Riti Sadhya Sa. This is explanation of that second part of that verse. Okay. How does this, where is this Bhav coming from? How does it manifest? All these things to be understood. Okay, questions.
Okay, all right. The first question is, what is the meaning of sadhana?
Go into the other view, Manini Radha Didi, if you don't mind.
Oh. Very
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Thank you. Right.
So what is the meaning of sadhana and sadhan bhajan? So what is the meaning of sadhana and sadhana bhajan? Someone would like to answer? You can raise your hand either on camera or Manini.
Okay, sadhana is the method that one uses to obtain a goal. The sajya is the goal. And sadhana bhajan is specifically the method by which we awaken and cultivate bhav, or this mood of loving attachment to Bhagavan.
Well, bhav is the bhav that's described here is that bhav that is within a particular Nitya Siddha Parika or eternal associate of Radha and Krishna and Braj.
Awakening.
Oh, what happened there?
Sorry. Sorry.
It's
Go
fine.
ahead and jump in, Hari Bol.
Hi, Val.
Haribol, Haribol.
Did you want to answer anything, Charachandrika?
No, I like this part very much.
Okay.
It's nice to know that the bhav is actually Nitya Siddha, always eternally there, and that it should be awakened. And so it encourages to do the sadhana very well, so that
That
comes.
can manifest. Yeah, it can
Yeah.
manifest.
Manifest. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, was there any other question?
What is sadhan bhakti?
Oh yeah, what is sadhan bhakti? Do you want to answer that, Charachandrika Didi? As soon as you're already on.
Sadhan
You're
bhakti
on.
is, yes, I can try. Sadhan bhakti is actually the engagement with your mind, your senses, in the ways to the limbs of bhakti
Mhm.
for the purpose to attain that bhav bhakti.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be for the purpose of attaining bhav bhakti.
Yeah.
And can you remember the second part of that verse?
Not really.
Well, I don't know, that might come in the next question as well. Wasn't it the
The
next
next
question?
question is, can you explain how
It's-
bhav is an eternally accomplished
Yes.
phenomena, and how does it manifest in the heart of the sadhaka?
Mhm. Okay, how it manifests is when the heart is purified by sadhana, by the
Mhm.
mercy, of course, of a guru, a living Sadguru, his mercy and the performing of the sadhana bhakti, the heart gets purified, and this eternally present bhav wakes up. Let me say that, because I think because we are in quality, we are atomic parts of Krishna, part
Mhm.
and parcel of Krishna. So it's in us, but we don't know. We don't know it due to ignorance. It's covered by dust. And when you get so lucky to enter in Krishna consciousness, you have the mercy of a guru. Slowly you realize that you have you have processes to take away the dust and wake up and see what you are and work on it. Simply explained.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much, Charachandrika.
Thank you, Hare
So-
Krishna.
Thank you, Didi. So is there any questions anyone has, or did anyone want to make any comments or add anything?
I had a question.
Yeah, Jiva Prabhu.
Nibul. So when you were speaking of the awakening part, and a particular part of Bhagavan, you I know that our sampradaya is specifying Payadasi Bhav, being a maidservant, especially the Manjaris. But I remember you saying that hopefully that's what we aspire to, but is there, I know that that's not everybody's aspiration. So
Mm.
I know generally we preach that is the highest attainment, but for those devotees, I personally agree, but for those devotees of some friends of mine, I mean, I've
Mm.
heard them, personally say that they're not attracted to that. So
Mm.
so much of our
Well,
preaching is very heavily towards that. Anyways, yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting question. Well, there's a few things that I can say or share. That Gurudev would always often say that if we're coming in this line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came specifically to give this Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam. You know this verse, Narpacharjuncharat Gurunavatanokola, Samarpaitana Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam. So this Unata Ujvala Rasam Sva Bhakti Shriyam is described as the beauty of that Unata Ujvala Ras, which is the in other words Manjari Bhav, Radha Dashyam. That's specifically what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. Of course, what he came to taste is something else, but that's what he came to give. And Srila Rupa Goswami Pad pointed that out in this verse. So, of course, anyone who would come into contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then according to their Swarup, that's what they will attain. So if even someone's a Ram Bhakta, as we've seen, there's many examples, well, some examples there in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Even the brother of Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Anupam, he was said to be a who was the other one? What's his name? I can't remember his name now. It's gone out of my head. But anyway, he the doctor. Can anyone remember his
Yes,
name?
I'm aware of the story that you're.
Yeah. Anyway, he even though Mahaprabhu told him to meditate and aspire to attain that prem of Radha and Krishna, he couldn't. He wanted to give up his life, because he was so much absorbed in Ram Leela, and that was his swarup, that was his aspiration, like that. So anyone can have any swarup, of course, and still come to this line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we should understand that in the beginning stages, it's going to be very difficult to understand what is our swarup. We may have, like there are examples in Chaitanya Charitamrita of Vyankata Bhatt, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Prabodhananda and Saraswati. They were all in the same family. And when Mahaprabhu came to visit, they were following the Sri Sampradaya, and their aim and object was Vaikuntha Prem. They were following Lakshmi Narayan. But by the association of Mahaprabhu, then they quickly changed. So in the same way, at our stage of bhakti, or maybe I can't speak for others, but certainly my stage of bhakti, like as a beginner, then we cannot really understand fully what is our swarup. We may like Sakyabhav, we may like Vatsalyabhav, but still, we still could be have that Manjari Bhav there in the heart. But if that's not there, that's not our swarup, that's okay, that's fine. But at least in the beginning, we can whichever guru we come into contact with, we can see that as an arrangement of the Divine Lord, Shri Krishna, and then aspire for that. And if in a later stage of bhakti, then we realize by his mercy that that's not our swarup, that's okay. Then the arrangement by Krishna will be there to meet a guru who is in that particular ras that we are that we're in. Aspiring for. I don't know. That makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense.
Murari, that's his name, Murari. I just remembered. It was Murari, right? The associate of Mahaprabhu, who was a Ram Bhakta.
Okay. Yeah,
He-
Vrindavan.
yeah. I knew it began with M. I just couldn't remember his name. Anyway, came to me. All right. So any other questions or comments before we finish? No? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and thanks especially to
Hey,
Purnamai.
Charu,
Oh, yeah,
you
go
only
on.
have one more slide.
No,
then
I know that slide's a big one. It will take
Okay.
a while to cover that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I just didn't want to go over too much over time.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, as I'm going to Vrindavan for Kartik this year, I'm going in a few days. So I'm going to be following the parikrama and won't be able to do any Bhakti Basics or Gurudev Vani Vaishnavi Prachar during Kartik. So the next one will be after Kartik. I think start with the Gurudev Vani. Well, actually, the Gurudev Vani Vaishnavi Prachar will do next Friday. I'm going to attempt it from India. Let's see. And then, so that'll be the last one for a while. And then we'll start again with the Gurudev Vani Vaishnavi Prachar straight after Kartik. And then Bhakti Basics, I think, at the very beginning of December. So it's going to be quite a break. But anyway, you can always catch up on recordings and go over what we've been through. And yeah, look forward to seeing you all again. So thank you so much to Purnamai Didi, who shared the slides, and you know, it was very much helpful. Actually, she made this, she always makes the decorations of the slides, so thank you so much.
Very beautiful.
Aditi, thank you so much.
Oh my
And
God.
Manini Radha Didi, yeah, thank you for stepping in there, saving the day. And
I'm just a squirrel throwing some pebbles.
it's good that you were able to do that. What did you call it? The astrology, the
The Mercury retrograde.
retrograde for us all off there. Yeah. Anyway, and then thank you to everyone. Thank you to Purnamai Didi for asking the questions and everyone for answering the questions. And thank you to Manini Radha Didi and Shamali Didi for giving such nice summaries. And if anyone else wants to give a summary in the future as well, let me know. And then, you know, we can divide it or whatever like that. So yeah, it's always good to go over the previous session and like that. Okay, everyone. So Manini Radha Didi, would you like to lead us out in Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Nice.
Sure. Let's see. I have my guitar. Can I I've been working on a different thing, starting with another verse, but ending in a Maha Mantra. Can I try it? It's the okay.
We like your experiments.
Yes, this experiment is okay. This verse that I'm praying is a prayer to pray before Diksha sometimes. And it's from Madhya Lila 1380. Naham vipranacha narapatyanapi vaishona sudro Naham vaninacha grihapatyano vanasto yatirva Kintu problani kila paramananda punamritabde Gopi Bhatupada Kamalayo Dasa Dasanudasaha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitai Gora, Hare Bol, Nitai Gora, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Jai Guru Parampara, Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo, Jai, Haribo.
There you go. Beautiful.
Short and sweet, hopefully.
Very, very
But
nice.
that verse is saying that I am not a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Shudra. I'm not a Brahmachari, a Grihasta, a Vanaprastha, or a Sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar, and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing in full brilliance.
Right. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. Like you said, it's good to recite that verse before we do our Diksha mantras. And that verse was recited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself at the time of Rath Yatra. Very nice.
Hi. Thank you. So,
Oh,
Hari Bol, thank you for the chance to serve and offer some seva.
yeah, thank
Appreciate
you. Yeah, always appreciate your interest in singing. Right. Thanks to everyone. If anyone wants to unmute or put their videos on, you can say hi bol. Hi bol.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Oh,
Hi
thank you so much.
bol. Who's that? Hi bol.
As well.
Vibes.
Jika Didi, Shamali Didi, PJ.
Good seeing you all. Have a safe trip, Charu. Safe travels.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm really looking forward to going. It's been a long time.
If you see my Guru Dev, will you offer my pranams? Will you
I
see-
certainly will. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah, sure.
Hari Bol.
Okay, Hari bol, everyone. Thank you
Right.
so much. Padrubyascha, Kripasinabhavacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha. And hope everyone has a very auspicious Kartik Vrat. Yeah.
And for those who can't be in India, we'll be doing 60 programs on Bhakti Zoom. It's
Whoa.
going to be pretty tremendous. Yeah, twice a day.
Wow.
And they're actually going to be quite special. And we're going to be following a parikram from October 20th through November 19th. And there's going to be, these are based on UK times, a morning program that's at like 2 a.m. for me. I think it's at like 10 a.m. for the UK. But that one will be like Tridandi Maharaj, as well as Sudevi and Kishori Mohan, I hope, going on location and offering kata. And then we will have another program that will be at 6 p.m. UK, which it's like 10 a.m. in the morning for me on Pacific Coast, Pacific time. And that will be a number of different speakers, Her Grace Shamarani Didi, Ashram Maharaj, Avadut Maharaj, many speakers and kirtaniyas that will cover the same places, but we'll be getting a very rich, hopefully online experience from this, as well as we'll have videos. And so be quite the festival. And I hope you all will tune in.
Sure.
Where is that, the updates for that going to be?
It'll be on Zoom, Bhakti Zoom. So we will be live streaming it on Facebook, as well as it'll be on YouTube. And if you're not on the WhatsApp, Jiva, if you want to put your, I can connect you if you send your phone number.
Yeah.
Or you could, or Jiva, you could send it to me via WhatsApp
Yeah.
if you've got my WhatsApp number, and I can forward it to Manini Radha. If you want.
Yeah, and then I'll add you to it. Then you'll get the notices about that. That'd be perfect.
Everybody,
Yeah.
Can you give me your WhatsApp number so I can send you mine?
Sure, it's on all, my WhatsApp number is on all the invites, but I'll just post it anyway here.
Okay.
Um,
I'm seeing, I'm looking at the invite now. I'm trying to see where your number is. Oh, I see
Yeah.
it. I see it.
Got it?
Okay.
All right, I mean, I'm just posting it quickly.
And
now.
then that goes for anyone else who wants to be added to the Bhakti Zoom, because we do have ongoing things. There's actually a number of programs. We were doing Mercy Grace Leela leading up to Kartik. We'll be resuming that after Kartik. That's twice a week where we do some Tattva and then Leelas around things. And then Srila Gurudev Memories program. Also, if anyone would like to speak and offer Pushpanjali on the Srila Gurudev Memory program, please reach out to me and I can see about getting you scheduled. It's really a wonderful seva.
Yeah.
And after Kartik, we'll be opening it up. Right now, we were just doing memories of Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Vaman Maharaj for their centennial and various significant anniversaries, but we're opening it up to all these acharyas after Kartik. So Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Van Maharaj, just whoever your Gurudev is. And I think it's just a wonderful association and incredible stories, Leelas.
Yeah, I love that program.
Thank you. Haribol.
Okay.
And if anyone would like to actually speak this Sunday, let me know, because I think we might have an unexpected opening. I don't know, Shamali, if you or Karuna Mai might want to.
I've already spoken.
Actually, already spoken.
That's okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's okay. If you want to come back, let us know. Okay.
You know who
Good.
was supposed to speak last week was Dr. T. Tamal
Right.
Krishna. Yeah, isn't he coming back this Sunday?
I don't know. I have to talk to Yashodananda and see, but I think he said we needed a speaker. I don't know who. And Karuna Mai, do you do graphic design?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. All right. Okay.
He does a lot of things.
Since you were doing the slides, I was going to say we're looking for a graphic designer to design the Kartik poster because Janardhan Prabhu can't really do it this time. So if any of you have any suggestions, please forward them to me on WhatsApp.
Sure. Okay, I think we can close there. Thank you so much, Manini Radha, for informing everyone of all the beautiful Bhakti laden programs going on about the world. Okay, so say goodbye to, not goodbye, but Hari Bol to everyone. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Well, if you want to join the Gurudev Vani Vaishnavi Prachar program, it'll be on the 15th, and then we'll have a break. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Hari Bol.
Thank you.